To replace the IAC valve, it is located under here, right underneath the throttle body. So the best way to get to it is to take the throttle body out. There will be coolant lines disconnected, so make sure you have a catch pan underneath and you should be ready to go. Take the hoses off the air housing hose. Phillips screwdriver. There's a hose out back. Positive battery cable is in a little connector there. And you can remove the air hose. Now with a pair of pliers, we're going to start disconnecting all the hoses that go to the throttle body. Just lightly squeeze, twist. There's one coolant hose. Throttle position sensor. Disconnect. Here's your IAC valve now. Take the tab and squeeze it. One more hose down below here. .12mm socket and ratchet, 2 nuts on the top and 2 bolts on the bottom. Okay, with a rubber mallet, I'm just going to try to give it a nice light tap. So once you loosen it up, just grab it and slide it forward. So now I'm going to take the throttle cable bracket off so that way I can utilize, if I have to go to a workbench, I can. Just a Phillips screw, 2 of them, holding the cables in. And take your throttle cable around and just slide it right through. So now you can see that it's 2 Phillips screws mounting the IAC to the bottom of the throttle body. So I took the cables off for one reason. Now I can spin it around, and here's a little trick of the trade. I don't have a vise or a bench to work with, so I'm going to line up the 2 top bolts on the bottom bolts. Now that's holding it steady, and I can take my Phillips screwdriver and really get a good grip on them to break them free. And now you're going to take your rubber mallet again, just give it a little tap. And there is the old IAC. Now with the throttle body out of the way, you want to clean the gasket off because you want to replace that gasket. Just take a razor blade or a scraper, gasket scraper, and clean it off. Once you've scraped off the paper gasket and it's all gone, use a sanding block just to get any nicks off and smooth it right out. Install the new gasket. Just line it up with the top studs. Don't forget to clean the actual throttle body. To install the IAC valve, I'm going to mount this upside down one last time just to hold it. And that way I can line the gasket up. Make sure it stays right in place. Press it down. And then line up your new IAC valve. Start the bolts by hand. I'm going to hold down on that IAC valve while I tighten this up to make sure that gasket doesn't slip. Bottom both of the bolts out before you snug it. Now you can bring it right back around, reverse it, line up the two studs on the top. Start to connect. I'm going to connect the hoses first before I put the bolts in, because I want it to be flush as possible. Reinstall the top nuts on the studs. Put the bottom bolts in. Just hand tighten the mounting bolts all the way around and the two nuts before you torque them. Tighten the mounting bolts to 16 foot-pounds. Do it in a crisscross pattern. One last quick check. Reassemble the clamps on the coolant hoses to the throttle body. Now I'm going to connect the IAC valve until it clicks, throttle position sensor. And now I'm going to put in the throttle cables and the cruise control cable. So you pull the throttle down, line these up the slot so the cable runs through. Get the two mounting screws. Put the upper hose on. Now you can put your air hose in. Hook up the battery cable on that little hook down below. Line those guides up. There's a hose in the back, don't forget. Okay, everything's good. Now just tighten up your clamp. Now you can place your engine covers back on. Get a flathead screwdriver. And don't forget to top off any coolant from the loss from the throttle body hoses.